The year is 2020. Hunters everywhere are falling. Nothing can stop it. The judgment has arrived, and all fail the test. Pain and suffering, despair and anger. Can there be nothing done? Can no one save them all? This is based on a true story.
Hello, my fellow hunters, and, well, you know the nice thing about Alatreon, we all have something else in common now. We were all hunters, and, you know, that banded us together, but now we've all been completely obliterated by Escaton Judgement over and over! And I'm here today to answer the question of, is it survivable without weakening him? Because look, the way that you are supposed to do the fight, the way it mechanically works is quite simple. You wail on him with the correct element for the mode he's in, dragon for dragon mode, ice for fire mode, and fire for ice mode. Ideally, you do enough damage, he has a little bit of a stagger. Oh, shit! Hits the deck, and then his next judgment, instead of being a, you know, apocalyptic world-ending terrifying event, is more kind of like, downtime. But for those that perhaps are soloing him that can't quite pump out enough elemental damage, or for those playing with random groups, can you survive Escaton Judgement at full power via some means? Well, first, let's establish a fact about it, and, well, we'll establish that fact with the following.
Behold, Alatreon! I stand before you equipped in the most immortal of immortal builds. 1300 defense, over 50 in every elemental resistance, every defensive skill. I am unkillable. Escaton Judgement? Ha! Come, let me judge it.
Oh, okay, I'm still dead instantly. Alright, that's fine. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, elemental resist, defense, defensive skills, none of it makes one jot of a difference. In fact, nothing makes a difference. You can't Superman dive to mitigate, you will still die. You can't block it, you can't reduce it with Rocksteady. It is quite, well, brutally, elegantly simple in how it is implemented. Escaton Judgement deals two fixed amount of damages, one for full strength and one for weakened. You are taking that damage full stop, and the only thing you can do to prevent it is heal faster than it damages you. It's a pure battle of incoming burn, melt, and, well, how fast you can heal to counteract it. Which is quite a cool idea when phrased like that. It's just a little bit on the kind of binary side, because, well, let me put it this way. It does red health damage, like Lunar Nova, which means you can use a Astera Jerky, which is nice because it uses the fastest consumable animation, along with things like the seeds, with max potions, and so on and such forth. And that animation, well, without any speed eating, takes 2.8 seconds to complete. And you receive the healing roughly in the middle at 1.4. So you press the button, 1.4 seconds later you get the healing, om nom nom, then 1.4 seconds later you finish the animation and can press the button again. Which means every 2.8 seconds you can go to full health. So how long does it take a full-powered Alatreon Nova to kill you? The answer is 0.83 seconds. So, yeah, it does the full 200 health from food and health boost 3 in 0.83 seconds, which you can appreciate is significantly less time than 2.8 seconds. So, you can out-heal it with the fastest healing output in the game. If we look at Speed Eating 3, which takes that 2.8 seconds to heal down to 1.65, well, that's still double the amount of time it takes it to, well, incinerate you. Now, with good timing, if you start the Escaton Jerky animation just before the damage starts ticking, use a Vitality Mantle, use a Health Booster, get one of them off, go back to full, and then get completely roasted back down again. So, yeah, what I'm basically telling you guys is that you either have to accept that you will cart every Escaton Judgement, which isn't the end of the world. Soloing him, he can die after around 2 or 3, so you deliberately eat for an extra cart, an open road platter, and you just accept Judgment deaths and kill him with just pure damage, ignore elements. Obviously that's risky, because if you can't do anything else, then suddenly, you know, you're right fucked, but it is an option. But it's also not the hardest thing in the world to just take a dragon weapon, or take a ice weapon, and just go to town on him, and get your staggers, and then survive normally. Not easy, but it is certainly doable and has been done by a lot of people. But to answer the question of the video then, can you survive the full power judgment? Well, technically you can. Fortunately, Escaton Jerky is affected by wide range, which means you can AoE pump everybody's health back up to completely full during the Nova. So if you have a full team of 4 people, then you can stand quite close together, have your full wide range each, have your Speed Eating 3 on everyone, have level 3 healing increase plus 30%, all 4 of you put down a health booster, which will stack as it powers up your health bar, adding like 0.15 seconds to the Escaton kill time. Then all you have to simply do is the first person presses Escaton Jerky, 0.5 seconds after they've pressed it, the second person does, then 0.5 seconds later, the third person does, then 0.5 seconds later, the fourth person does, and then 0.5 seconds later, the first person does again, as they now can, and so on and so forth until the damage stops, and you technically survive the full power judgment. Which, let's be honest, requires a lot more coordination, difficulty, and teamwork than just bringing elemental weapons and staggering him to make it trivial. So, yeah. That's about the long and short of it. A full-on battle of healing up versus damage melting you down, and essentially unsurvivable outside of using the intended mechanic, except for a very extreme, well-coordinated effort. So, that's a little look into Escaton Judgement. A full-on guide to everything Alatreon does and ways to kill him and all of that is coming up later, but I really wanted to see if it was survivable, and it just kind of, for all intents and purposes, isn't. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.